My friends, even my family, a lot of my family actually, still have a problem with me in respects to my attitudes to work. Okay, the phrase I would commonly get is, "Joseph, you're doing too much. You're doing far too much, Joseph. When are you going to take a break? When are you going to go on holiday? When are you going to rest, recuperate, rejuvenate?" My friends would also similarly say to me at the time, "Joseph, I never see you at the pub anymore on a Friday. Why don't you come down to the local unicorn and have a couple pints? Take some time off. You've been working all week, your 9 to 5. Take some time off." They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get that the future belongs to those who use their weekends and their time off effectively. They don't understand what I see. They don't get my vision. We are few and far between. And I don't mean to stand here on my ivory tower, but you know, if you're a man serious about achieving big things in the world, that you cannot move like other people. You cannot move like the 99%. You cannot move like the average, because if you move like the average, then your future will be plagued with mediocrity. It is Saturday at the time that I record this video. I've already recorded 2 other videos for my main channel. I've scripted out a week's worth of content on my Twitter, and I'm also going to do some additional work this evening, repurposing one of my ebooks for my Twitter audience who are serious about leveraging Twitter to increase their brands and escape the 9 to 5, retire the 9 to 5. Details of which you can message me and I'll point you in the right direction when that is finished. But back to the premise of this video. I want to know what you are working on this weekend. I want to know what vision is so grand in your mind that you will veto the mediocrity. You will veto the individuals attempting to drag you down to their level and stop you from taking flight. Because that is ultimately what I feel. I feel like my family do it from a perspective of health. They generally want me not to crash and burn out, and they want me to do well, and they realize that the most optimal path for me is not to have my nose pressed so hard to the grindstone that I pass out and die. You heard the story of Icarus. If you fly too high, you'll get burned by the sun and your feathers will burn and you'll burn out, literally and figuratively. But my friends, the people in my working environment would tell me, "Joseph, you're doing too much because you're getting too far ahead." And I don't like the fact that you are making money on the side, outside of your 9 to 5. My bosses would say this to me. They say, if your work interferes with your 9 to 5 commitments here, then we will have to have a discussion. We will have to have a discussion, because I don't like the idea that you are not fully dependent on this occupation. Because it means we can't control you, Joseph. It means you could get up and leave at any single time. And I don't like being in a position where you are outside of my control. Nobody does. And now I have flown so high that I am outside of the net. I'm outside of the cage. You can't control me. I can wake up at whatever time I like. I can go to bed at whatever time I like. I could do whatever the fuck I want every single day, any single day. It's not dependent on anybody else apart from me. So how do you get in this position? You get in this position by not wasting your weekends, not wasting your time, not wasting the most valuable asset you have, which is your time. It's not money you want, it's time. It's time you want. And you do that by not following the crowd. You do that by first having jurisdiction over the mind here. The only thing that you should be responsible to is the organ in between your ears, because in that way I have my freedom, but I'm not technically free, because I have an authority figure right here and I respect it. I love it because it's given me the life that I want. This is my manager right here. This is my boss, and it keeps me on the straight and narrow. It knows that if I'm able to leverage my weekends effectively, then I'm going to get more ahead. I'm going to get more time, more money in my pocket, more quality of life. It knows that first and fundamentally. And that's why I respect it, because our values are congruent. Our values are congruent, and I will always do what it says. There are some times I have to discipline even the mind, or the body part of me, where it starts to see the alluring attraction and pleasures and video games and, other fast food and junk food and all that kind of shit. And maybe it gets too carried away. But then it has to pull me back. It has to pull me back here. Remember the principles that we established when we were working in a 9 to 5, and remember how it has given you the very gift to be able to indulge in these pleasures right now. Respect it. Don't take advantage. Don't take the shit. You have to be your own boss. You have to be that own voice in your head. You have to be the person who self-manages. You have to. Because when you start taking orders from this rather than your 9 to 5 boss, things change. Things change drastically, very quickly as well, depending on how much you adhere to the organ between your ears. And it should be exciting. People who despise the idea of working on the weekends will never be free. People who despise the idea of doing work beyond the confines of their 9 to 5 will forever be slaves to it. And I know that's difficult to hear. I know that's hard to hear, but it's the truth. It's the truth. You have to start thinking outside your comfort zone. You have to stop thinking like everybody else, because if you think like everybody else, you're going to get the same results as everybody else. It's true. You know it to be true, right? I was lucky enough, it's funny how I say this. I was lucky enough, pardon me, to have a mental break when I was 23, 24. And it put me in a place where I realized I cannot do this 9 to 5 mumbo jumbo. I cannot do it. I retired that because I was so excited. That's the point. I was so excited. I had the foresight. Look at my first videos on my Masculine Theory channel. There was a guy who just understood the principle of leverage, that if I put in the work now and I continue to put in the reps, then it's going to pay off in the future. And it has. There's evidence of that all over. You know, my lifestyle. And I'm cautious here. I don't want this to devolve into me blowing smoke up my own arse, but I was in that place, guys. I was in that place. Maybe this is a good video for the main channel, but I was living in my father's house, in my own room, which is a little box. I had to flip my mattress to start doing videos because there was no space in the room. I was working 9 to 5. This is what my routine looked like. I used to get up at 5:30 in the morning. I used to drive to the gym. I would do a gym workout. I would commute for an hour afterwards to my 9 to 5, and then I would spend 9 to 5 there, and then we'll commute for another hour and a half to get stuck in the London traffic, get home, eat, and then I would start doing my other job, my business, from 8 till 10 to 11 sometimes. Like and I would do that 5 times a day, and then on the weekend, I would have a little bit more time, to have a little bit of rest now and again, especially on Sunday, the Lord's Day, after all. But I was working on that, and I also had to visit my girlfriend at the time, so I also had to commute, and I would spend time with her. So people who give this bullshit idea that they do not have time to allocate to that pursuit, bollocks. And by the way, you'll never get it. You'll never get it if you constantly come from the perspective of I have no time. You won't get it. You won't achieve it. So quit indulging that fantasy and just commit to your 9 to 5, right? And by the way, I'm not saying that you can't have a good 9 to 5 and you can't enjoy it. You can have a very, very good lifestyle. I know people that have good lifestyles, especially with the home working situations now. It's more flexible. I really get that. And I respect it. And I believe you can have a good lifestyle like that. But if you're somebody that wants to be fully location independent, who doesn't want to be able to answer to anybody else other than themselves, if you want true freedom, it starts by realizing that your work doesn't finish out after the 9 to 5. Those who use their weekends effectively will inherit the earth. And that's all I'll say on that.